Top of the morning, everyone. This is AT&T 360, where we do aviation, travels, and tourism report. And with me are two lovely gentlemen. I will not let the cat out of the bag for now because we are going on a short break. Please don't touch that dial. And we are back. This is Aviation Insight. And I'm still your man, Ricky Fonofe. And like I said, we have two great gentlemen. Sirs, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have Engineer Christian Ayegba. You're welcome, sir. And Engineer Danjuma Amadu, a.k.a. Rambo. It's good to have you guys here. These people are the unsung heroes, the ones that we don't see yet. Without them, the plane will not take off. So, sir, it's good to see you. It's good to have you here on AT&T 360 Aviation Insight. Now, my question is, from time immemorial, if we're told then that planes will take off, that's heavy metals will take off, we will not believe. But so far, so good. We are seeing planes everywhere. Right from the Wright brothers, from the invention of their very first aircraft and all that. So please, can you just take us on that journey? Give us an insight on how big metals like the airplanes take off.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Airplane itself is a dream. It's somebody's dream. The Wright brothers, Owen and Wilbur Wright, I think something came up to them and said, let's put up an idea how to transport human beings. Those American greats, twin brothers they are. And from their dream, the idea of aircraft came into existence. And today, I think it's one of the most safest means of travels by standard. It's something of joy that you don't have to soil yourself to travel by camel across the desert. You don't have to encounter getting yourself squeezed into a bus to take you to your destination. Clean as you are, board your airplane from point A to B, from Cape to Cairo, and you're good to go. And that is the finesse about this wonderful discovery or invention, as it were. It has helped to shorten man's journey, and it's something that humanity will appreciate until the end of time. That much I can say.
Okay, so that's a very wonderful experience or story you can say about planes. So, Engineer Christian, then it was actually, planes were actually used for warfares, right? And all of a sudden, it revolutionized to passengers, airplanes, and all that. Now, when you talk about the engines, can you give us an insight of engines used then for warplanes and engines used for planes that lift passengers?
Okay, thank you once again. Then we actually use what we call turboprop.
Okay.
Turboprop engines, which was actually modernized into what we're using currently right now. Now, to get your question straight, we have series of aircraft. We have the Airbus, we have the Boeing, we have the Cessna, we have the jets, the private jets, and we still have the one we call them the TB9, Beechcraft, and the TBM 850. Now, the engine that we're using in this modernized era that we are right now, we are using the turbofan engine, which is the CFF 56-3 engine. You understand? Now, that one works, it actually has four principles, which we call the intake, the compressor, the combustion, the turbine, and the exhaust. All of these principles actually work together with the basic aerodynamic balance of the aircraft. The aircraft have what we call the lift, the weight, the drag, and the force. Those are those forces that are acting on the aircraft. So for me, I actually grew up in the aviation industry because my dad works in the aviation industry and my mom works in Nigeria Institute of Transport Technology. So let's just say all of my life, everything I've ever knew was about holoplane. How the aircraft take off, because my house was just facing the wrong way. So you can actually see the aircraft taking off every day. And when I was young, I kept wondering, how does something that has so much weight carry passengers and still yet ahead the top up fuel? Let's say 1,000 of fuel in pounds or in kg. So one of those things that actually motivated me was like, I keep following my dad every day to the hangar, and I watch people fixing aircraft and all of that. So I said to myself, I want to be an engineer. I want to be someone that tomorrow I'll be able to live up to my name and said, I fix this aircraft that is flying. So you see, one of those things was what actually motivated me. So I started from the basic. I did my first degree in Nuba Mali Polytechnic. Okay. That's where I studied mechanical engineering. That was when I made up my mind, prepared that, okay, I am fully ready to go into this aviation industry. Then I went to Nigeria College of Aviation Technology, which is one of the prestigious schools in the whole of West Africa. That was where I studied for 4 years. Now, after then, I got my license, I got the training, I got the background that I wanted. So the license that you're actually graduating with comes in 5 forms, which we have the pressurized, we have the unpressurized, we have the piston engine, we have the basic helicopter, and the gas turbine engine. Now, once you have that, I think you're fully ready to move into the aviation industry. Now, whilst I was still in class, I get to understand that the aircraft are made up of so many parts. We have the structural part, we have parts that are resistance, we have the skin, we have the frames, we have the stringers, we have the spar, and we have the ribs. And I get to understand that the aircraft has what we call the intake. It has the wing, which help in supporting the aircraft to lift it from the ground. It has the force that the aircraft has to use, the end power. We have the N1 and the N2. Those are those stuff that actually push the engine through front, that makes it go. Then we have the thrust lever, and we have other form of principles that the aircraft actually use. We have the rudder, we have the horizontal stabilizer and the vertical stabilizer. So once you just understand, and this aircraft has, just like you said, in the olden days, we actually have aircraft that are used for fighter, and those ones mostly sometimes have 2 passengers. Maybe the captain, that's the command, the captain in command, and the FO. But now we have the captain, we have the FO, that's the pilot, is the pilot in command. You understand? Then we have the FO, we have the cabin crew, we have the flight engineer, then we have the passengers. And now, in this recent development, we see most of the aircraft we have has at least 201 passengers, 129 passengers capacity, 130 capacity. So the more, and what we are trying to do now as engineers, we are trying to say, okay, there's a way we can make this aircraft more consumable in terms of fuel, capacity, and in terms of making the aircraft fast, easy to move. Because if you know, most people out there don't really understand that there are people working on this aircraft. There are guys that actually went to school to study aeronautical engineering and aircraft maintenance engineering. Those guys are really experts, yes, sir. Because a lot of people just go into the plane and they see the captain. The captain is dressed in his white.
That's all.
And he gives the command. He gives the command. So everybody was like, they are not seeing the guys. They are people that are actually doing this job. These guys are actually sweating, dating themselves, but people do not really know those people. They only see the captain. So the next thing is that the aircraft take off from its departure and arrive to its destination. That's what people know. Thank you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, so you're just taking us on how engines are being made and all that. I really appreciate that. But I want to ask you a question. When it comes to protocol, if the engines, like for example now, if you actually go through the engines and you work on it and you see that it cannot fly, is there any possibilities, or are there ways you tell the pilot, okay, fine, these engines cannot fly and you cannot take off? Or do we need an endorsement from engineers before a plane takes off?
Okay, thank you once again. You know what? Just like I said, there was something I actually missed when I was giving out those points that I was giving out. In this aviation industry, they will have what we call the regulating body. Those are the Nigeria Civil Aviation Regulation. Those people are in charge of ensuring safety and airworthiness of that aircraft. Now, if I was to come to the office or to the RAM on a Monday morning and I do my morning pre-flight, that's what we call morning pre-flight.
Okay.
I do my walk around, I check the aircraft. After checking the aircraft, I check the fuel. I go on board of the aircraft. I put on my parameters. I run the APU, and I'm not allowed to start the engine. You understand, but I can start the APU and I can still test the engine to know if everything is still okay. But I'm not allowed to start the engine. Those works for pilots. You understand, but if the pilot, after running my parameter and the pre-flight, and I see that everything is okay, if there is a fault on the engine, the pilot will be the one to indicate it. It's what we call the tech lock that is on board of the aircraft. After every flight, if there's a snack, we call them snack.
Okay.
If there's a snack, the pilot will report that there's a snack. Now, it is my duty as the engineer to ensure that that snack is carried out before the next available flight of the day or the next day. Now, what I do first is that I consult my aircraft maintenance manual. Every aircraft has a manual. Now, I consult that manual. The manual tells me if it's engine. I know engine is power plants. Okay. Now, I go to 70, from 70 to 80. Talks about engine. Now, let's say the pilot reports that so fuel is not moving from so tank to so engine. Or the pilot said, while starting the aircraft, the engine, N1 engine, refuses to rotate or refuses to start. There are different possibilities that might be the cause. One, it might be that the starter is not picking up.
Okay.
Or there is no sufficient fuel. Or the battery in the aircraft is not enough to boost the fuel from wherever source is tapping the fuel from. But I will consult my manual. The captain, that's the pilot to command, we know that this is where the fault is coming from. Because there's what we call flight fault isolation manual in the aircraft. It tells you where this fault is coming from. So you don't need to go deeper. You just, once you see the fault isolation manual in your FMD, you just go straight to the panel, you open it, you lose. If it's a block or it's a choke filter, you lose it, you fix it, you go back, then you now troubleshoot. That's what we call troubleshooting. You troubleshoot. But if it's something that it cannot go or it needs to be replaced, I will not release the aircraft to service. I will ground the aircraft because I'm thinking about safety of my passengers. I'm thinking about safety of the aircraft. I'm also cutting the company loss.
Okay.
So my conscience will not let me to release the aircraft.
Okay.
Until the aircraft has been rectified. So I'll put the aircraft on AOG, aircraft on ground.
Aircraft on ground. Thank you so much for that insight. Sir, Engineer Danjuma, I just want to ask you some questions. You know, we were talking before we came into the studio about airlines that have been around for quite some time, and all of a sudden we don't hear of them anymore. Can you just give us an insight, probably why they are not just functioning anymore, like the Okada Air, and other airlines?
Thank you so very much. It's well, I think it borders on the individual sense of, let me say, business acumen. How do you respond when you have fleet of aircrafts and they are not being managed? You run into defect, you run into deficiency. Operators need to live above board. To run an airline is not a walk in the park. You have to have big pocket to run an airline. And this is why we always cry to government for subvention, especially where it involves spares. Spares are what airline have problem with. We don't manufacture spares in Nigeria. They come from abroad. For one little as perhaps pin, the aircraft can be on ground for months.
Wow.
And it must meet requirement. It must be standard. You don't just buy it from abroad and then you fix it. You must have to go through tests. So if you are not capable of running an airline, don't go into it, because it's something that is financially, it's not something you play with. Because overhead cost of running an airline is that mammoth, is big. Paid of salaries, buying aircraft, and so on and so forth, paying your overhead charges, flight charges, navigational charges, catering. It undergoes a lot. And today, where are they? time was when we used to have Nigeria Airways, we used to have Ghana Airways. They've all gone into oblivion. Okada, Cabo, Chenchengi, Oriental. I can go on and on and on and on. And some born out of mismanagement. Bulk of them go into mismanagement. That has been the bane of operators. Mismanagement. And how do they come about it? Only God knows. But our cry for Nigeria today is to birth and be among the nations that will fly the flag of this nation amidst the aviation world, to know that we are still in this business.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, Engineer Danjuma. Back to you, Engineer Christian. I want to ask a very funny question, you know. Okay. For example, I have a car. I drive like a Toyota Camry, and they just tell me, okay, my engine has gone flat. I need to get another engine, and I go to the market and I buy a fairly used engine. Is it like that when it comes to aircraft? Probably the engine just goes down, and they say, okay, you need to get another, engine to put in. Is it like that?
Thank you. Just like what Engineer Rambo just said now, in the aviation industry, one of the paramount stuff we actually look into is called safety. Okay. Now, just like you said, if you were driving your car, you were going to the market, and all of a sudden your car engine knocked. In aircraft, that's not how it is. I'm right. In aircraft, that's not how it is. What we do in aircraft is that we'll drop the engine and we'll send the engine for overhaul. Okay. The engine will have to go to the manufacturer of that company.
You're saying manufacturer
of that
that's
company.
Taking it back abroad.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It has to go back to abroad. It has to. Now, to go to abroad after some series of inspection, check, and overhaul, they will not bring it back. So if we don't have an engine to replace at that moment, that aircraft will be on AOG for safety.
Okay, to all my listeners and viewers, we are still talking about engines and aeroplanes. Please do not fail to subscribe on our social media handles: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. So, sir, we're still talking about planes and all that, seriously. Sure. And I'm actually enjoying myself. And I know that the viewers and the listeners are also enjoying themselves too as well. So we're still talking about engines and all that. So when it comes to engines, it's, for example, now I may not really get the terms of the names of planes and all that, but can one actually take an engine from another plane and place it in another plane, or no? It is actually static. This is what has to be here, and this is what has to be here.
Okay, let me just say, for the past 5 years, I have been working mostly on Boeing 737.
Okay.
Yes, I actually came into Lagos 2023, and since then I've worked on Challenger, I've worked on Orca, I've worked on Gulfstream, I've worked on C-130. That's the Nigeria Air Force aircraft.
Okay.
You understand, ba? Now, I have a wide, or should I say, hands-on on all these aircraft. Now, one thing that I understand is that every aircraft has its own engine.
Okay.
It is allowed to remove an engine from a C-130 and replace it back to the same C-130. Yes, that is allowed. It is allowed to move an engine from an Orca or an Embraer, from an Orca, and replace it. It must still be the same Embraer Orca engine. Now, let's say, for example, now the Embraer uses Sunstra. The engine they use is Allison Alpha Echo 3007 Alpha. You see, as an engineer now, it is expected that I'm supposed to know all of these things, because I've been working on this aircraft. Why the Boeing 737 uses CFM 56-3 engine? Its APU uses APS 2000, but manufacturer are Garrett. So all of this aircraft has its manufacturer and it has its specification. So you cannot say, okay, let's say, for example, now I cannot come to this station when I'm supposed to be discussing about aviation travels and tourism 360. And I'll be telling you about, let's say, example, Lagos School FM.
No.
You understand, man?
I've tried
So
back.
thank you. Whatever I'm supposed to be discussing here has to do with this platform.
Yes.
You say that's how the aviation industry works.
Okay, so on a lighter note,
All right.
are you people really paid? Are you your salary? I'm sure it's actually a very big package. As engineers, just give us an insight.
I really don't want to go into that, but I have to say something about it.
Okay.
You understand? But you see, at a point, it actually pained me. Currently, I'm still job hunting. I'm not working with all this experience and all these things I have just mentioned out here. I am still job hunting, but currently, what I'm doing is I'm doing ad hoc stuff. Just like what my boss said. He said ad hoc staff is more like contract staff. It's a contract internship. You understand, but you are being but you're being paid for that internship.
Okay.
See, it's really I wish there's something that can be done about it though, because the engineers are not really paid. We are not actually going home with fat salary. It looks like what the captains and the FO are actually going home with. I wish there is something that can be done about it, but I believe something can be done about it. I believe. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, that's the way. It's the package. That's what people look at.
Yes.
You know, the job does not commensurate with what you earn. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Because we put in a lot of man hours. Sometimes we spend 3 days on the ramp working on an engine.
Yes.
Yes, without going home. So when you are married to the job, in fact, the job is your wife. What I tell my wife is, if you don't see me, I'm with the other woman. And that is one woman I can't divorce with.
Yeah.
Okay.
You I can divorce, but I can't divorce her. Because she's your next person. So this job, you are married to it, is a job of conscience. You have to put your all on the line. But a lot of us, I must tell you, from inception up till now and beyond, we're in this industry for passion. If you really want to go according to the salary, then you don't need to work. Yes, it hurts so much. But then, whatever comes our way, as ad hoc, like the Nigerian parlance will say, we take our whole body. Let me put it that way. But we hope that one day, sometimes, it will improve and it will be better for the industry. Thank you, sir.
Seriously, you seem to be the invincible heroes here. I don't understand why you people have to call yourself contract staffs, because you people play, in fact, if not the most important, but the most important aspect of the whole thing. Without your expertise, a plane will not fly. So I'm wondering, what is there any issue why people are called contract staffs? Are there things that we need to address and let the government and organization need to know that you people are very important, so that at least you people will be respected and recognized?
Thank you very much. The idea of contracting had to do with what I call experience. Because like wine, the older you are in the industry, the better you stand. And you can't compare a guy that is just coming out of the Aeronautics school with you who have been in the industry for quite some time, 5, 6, 10 years. And for operators who runs what we call the MRO, maintenance, repair and overhaul, MRO, they will need the services of ad hoc staff, that is the experienced one, to back up with the younger ones so that they can turn out a good product during maintenance. Because in this industry, there's no room for I'm sorry. It doesn't exist. You have almost, maybe the least aircraft carries about 150 passengers. So, may God forbid bad thing and there's a mishap. Do you know, for one person, you know how many relatives one person has? So how long will it take you to go around and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? And that is why the engineering job is a very delicate job. He should be respected. So the idea of ad hoc coming in, the ad hoc has sprinkle of experienced engineers to back up with the younger ones. teach them the rudiments, how this job is properly done. They can't just work on their own, though everybody is licensed. But for some company, for some reasons, they prefer the work of the ad hoc. Because these are people that most operators will say, oh, if I have this team, I have my eyes closed. Like my young engineer said, you are type-rated on different aircraft. So you need solid people who are well grounded in the system, who knows what they are doing. They know their onion. But does it go home with the package? That is the big question. We need a lot of encouragement. We need the people to encourage us so that our efforts will be recognized. Both the take-home, what they call take-home, and what we call take-home, there should be a synergy. Not take-home that will not take you to the bus stop. So how do you continue from there? It's a very big challenge. And I appreciate the fact that I'm proud to tell you today, the best pilots in the world today are Nigerian. We are very brilliant. People don't like to hear this, but this is the home truth. I will not leave Nigeria for any country. I belong here. We have to change the trend. We have to change the narrative. The best engineers in the world are here today. Ethiopia Airlines that is flying today, they train their engineers here in Nigeria. Quote me. They started from here through Nigeria Airways. Today, Boeing has a setup in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Okay? Egypt, all of them.
You know,
Ditto.
Ogarambo,
Yes.
you said something that actually piqued interest in what you just said now, that we have a lot of experienced pilots and experienced engineer. And in Nigeria, you said we have a lot of good pilots
Yes.
that are out there.
No doubt about it.
One of the things I also want you to look at is that there was this mentality I had when I was growing up. And I still believe if we Africans or Nigerians do not actually wake up from such mentalities and actually learn how to be our brother's keeper, there is no way we can actually forge ahead. You get that? Now, a lot of people are actually leaving the country. The doctors, the nurse, the bankers, the teachers, they're actually leaving the country because everybody is looking for a greener pasture. Now, they cannot be sacrificing and prioritizing their family over going home with peanut at the end of the day. You get that? Now, for instance, take this for instance. Let's say I want to buy an aircraft. I want to start an AOC. I'm an operator. I want to start an AOC in Nigeria. I go through the stages. There are stages that I need to go through. Through the Nigeria Civil Aviation Regulator. They will give me these stages. I will follow through these stages. Then after the 5th or the 6th or the 7th stage, I get to acquire an aircraft. Now, after acquiring this aircraft, instead of me employing from my roots, because if I employ from my roots, it means I'm also helping someone out there that maybe has dependents or family or relations that are actually looking up to him. Now, some of these engineers and pilots have actually spent money, hard money. Imagine going to school. After school, you will not travel out to do another type rating course on that same aircraft just because you want to have a job. Otherwise, you will not be recognized. No company is going to carry you as an FO or a startup engineer for you to come and spoil their aircraft. So what I believe is that we actually need to have faith and confidence in ourselves. Now, that man that buys that aircraft, instead of employing Nigerians that are experienced on this aircraft, they will end up bringing out what we call expatriates. Paying this expatriate higher than what you're paying your country in Nigeria that has the same experience. So, and if you look at it, some of these expatriates actually did not go through a recognized institute, just like what you did. You went through the system and you came out. Now, imagine now bringing an expat and you are paying me, let's say 600,000 naira. Just imagine that though. And you are paying that expat $10,000. That's not fair. It's not fair. So I think the operators and the investors, those that are actually investing into buying aircraft and coming to Nigeria Aerospace to come and operate the aircraft, they actually need to look into this thing, because there are a lot of ad hoc. I've been doing ad hoc now for almost 3 years, and I know I've seen a lot of people that have both experience that have the qualification, that have the zeal, that are hardworking, that are committed to this job. All they need is a platform, a way they can actually show their professional growth. Yeah. They show you that they are fit for it. Okay. They are willing. Their willingness to this their eagerness. You can actually see that these people, we have something to offer. I have a classmate that got scholarship from his state. He was my classmate. Now, after graduating, he could not afford money to go for a type rating. Do you know, as I'm speaking to you currently right now, he stay at home, farming, and he's an aircraft maintenance engineer. He can analyze, he can solve problem. But where is he now? He's at home. So what I'm just saying is that if the operators can actually look towards this direction, because some of these ad hoc staff, it's not as if they are happy that they are being an ad hoc staff. They are not comfortable living that kind of lifestyle. You go and apply for a job in Nigeria, in your own country, they will just dump your CV. Or you imagine someone calling you for an interview for a role, and they are asking you a question that they are supposed to be asking the owner of the company or the owner of the manufacturer of the aircraft. You are asking me that I went through stages to get to where I am now. You are asking me a question that you're supposed to be asking the manufacturer. It shows that you don't give me a job. And some of these operators, they already had who they want to give the job in their mind.
Sorry to cut you there, but I want to ask this very important question. Do you have an organization, a well-recognized organization based on engineering experts? Do you have them?
Organization, yes. Organization, umbrella of Nigeria Aircraft Engineers Association, yes.
Okay.
But that is just an umbrella. It doesn't speak for us when it comes to remuneration.
Okay.
That organization does not speak for us. Because in fact, all the airlines don't operate on the same frequency. The way you employ your staff is different from the way I employ my own staff. So the terms and conditions they are poles apart, so to say. So if you fall under that organization thing, you stand to lose. If you are too vocal, you stand not to get the job at all. That is one thing that will work against you.
And some of the company will not employ you.
They won't employ you.
If your CV carries that you are under a union.
Yes. In fact, it's first warning.
Yes.
That's the red flag they will raise for you. As you are coming into this establishment, we hope you will not initiate anything that will bind staff in the name of unionism.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what do? Fight for your bread and butter. Oga, we go farm, we carry our cutlass. We farm with him, me and my family go chop. May God help us. Thank you.
Okay, so my great men, engineers, aeronautical engineers, please, what do you have to say before we round up this program? Just one thing from you, sir.
One thing from me, one thing from Chris. Two things from both of us. First, I want to thank the management of AT&T 360 for giving us this platform to express ourselves, and we hope and pray that this will go beyond this level. The world will get to know what AT&T 360 stands for. Projecting tourism, the aviation industry, and all it takes for man to express himself as a living human being. Thank you so very much. I will hope that this message will get to the right source. God bless you.
Okay. And my bros.
My boss already said everything I needed to say. You just took the word out of me. This is why you're no good. This is why you're no good. He don't allow me finish. That's why they call him Rambo now. That's why they call him Rambo now. I was intimidated too. Why would you do that now? Anyway, guys, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so thank you so much again.
Pleasure is mine.
To have you.
Thank you.
It was nice getting acquainted. Thank you so much.